Yo, that was the first time in like 8 months that I've been able to see the intro video. That was pretty good. I forgot how much that song slaps. Wow. Right on. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. Happy Friday out there. We're hoping you're having a wonderful evening or whenever you're checking us out. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment if you feel like it. Let us know what you think about the channel, what you do not like about us, and we will be happy to read it. As always, I am joined with my friends, my good friends. Mike, how you doing, man?
Doing great.
All right, that sounds good to me. And we
That's
got
the story
Keenan.
I'm sticking with.
Okay, fair enough. Sometimes it's better that way.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good as well. You know, Excelsior, Excelsior.
Yes, I believe that is the state motto of New York. So,
English, mother. Do you
Well, that
speak
makes
it?
sense.
yep. Well, tonight, everybody, we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally, you get movie reviews and TV reviews from us that are great and funny and insightful, but tonight you're going to get none of that. You're going to get the bottom of the barrel of the internet for the week, and we will be curating this for you in a little series that I like to call Channel Surfing. This is where we sort of compile all of the craziest stuff that we've seen on the internet for the past week, and we give a rundown of it. So that's going to be what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to get into secret tunnels, Joe Rogan, politics. We're going to get into some statistics. We're going to get into some pop culture news, some cancellations of some beloved TV shows, and maybe a controversial issue or two. So strap in, put your earmuffs on if you are sensitive to certain topics, and enjoy this episode. Tonight, guys, where do we want to start? You know where I want to start, actually? This will ease us right into it. I wanted to talk about the Joe Rogan thing first off, because I think that that's the easiest thing for us to sort of cover and warm up the conversation with.
Yeah,
Love Joe
Joe
Rogan.
Rogan would be a very nice opener.
Yes.
It's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, everybody knows him. He's basically the king of podcasting at this point. So, and as the king of podcasting, you can imagine that there are many people that want to get on his show, right?
Oh yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I wouldn't mind being interviewed.
I wouldn't mind being interviewed, obviously, but I don't think I have enough to offer him. Probably not interesting enough, but that's okay.
I wouldn't have anything to talk about.
So for the past like week, I've been seeing this pop up over and over, and I'm pretty sure that it just came off from a flippant comment or maybe like an X post about Joe Rogan shaking Trump's hand at the UFC 2 years ago. And then ever since that video resurfaced, everybody has been saying, "Oh, he's going on Joe Rogan. Trump is going on Joe Rogan. It's happening. It's happening." So much so that we have the Joe Rogan podcast, which is followed by Joe Rogan. It's not his actual Twitter profile, but it says, "Do you want to see the real Donald Trump on the podcast?" And of course, that's just a sort of engagement bait that we see on X now. But it's gotten to the point where now there are people that are claiming Kamala or Camp. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
Don't feel bad. She can't pronounce it either.
I feel terrible.
Damn.
Okay, Kamala.
Wow.
We now know that, we have rumors now that Kamala's team is trying to also court Joe Rogan to be on his podcast. So what I find hilarious about this is that Joe Rogan has never mentioned once that he is going to have any of these people on the podcast, and it feels to me like they're just sort of trying to strong arm their way into his show.
Yeah, he has enough followers.
You know what? If you wanted to be honest, I don't think she wants to be on his show. She couldn't handle it.
Well, I think that he would probably only do it if he had both of them on. It doesn't seem like he would be the type that would just have one or the other. I think that he would want to have both of them on, but
leave it.
I don't even think he's considered any. I don't think he's considering either of them, if I'm being honest. I don't know where this rumor just like sprang out of nowhere that he's doing it. And then I guess Trump's been doing his podcast circuit, so everybody is sort of expecting him to be on the Rogan show as like the finality of that podcast circuit.
Right. And while I agree with you completely on what you just said, I don't think she would do it because she can't even handle Brett Baer.
Well, before we
she can't handle the basic questions without getting completely demolished.
Into that part of it, I think what's even more pressing before we worry about who can and can't handle and all of that, and what even the topics would be is when was the last time Joe Rogan chose to turn his platform into a political arena?
Yeah, I think he only had like Tulsi and RFK and Bernie on. So.
He's only had people who aren't currently running for anything.
Yes. Actually, they might.
And that's more so what I'm saying. Because I think if he were to try to tread that line, he would definitely lose followers on both sides. The question would be, what does he stand to gain? I think they have more to gain. Either one of them have way more to gain than Joe Rogan would from having one. I could see them. I'll say like I know she went on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
they have something to gain because they're an everyday. Say it again.
Get that mic a little bit closer.
Oh, my mistake. I know she went on the Breakfast Club. They have more to gain on the Breakfast Club because they're an everyday platform. They need fresh material every single day, right? I could see Trump going on, I guess, somewhere along the way, an equivalent of that nature. I'm sure he has done radio, but I haven't heard of it or seen it. So my thing, before we get into even how pressing or how taxing the questions would be, what line they would tread with the discussion, why would Joe Rogan risk his platform that way? Because to me, that's a huge risk. Like that's an unnecessary risk on top of that.
Oh, I think, I think what's happening here is there's a lot of wishful thinking going on. And I think both sides want people like Joe Rogan to plant their flag on one side or the other.
Right.
And if I'm being 100% honest, I think that he sort of does the fence sitting thing where he doesn't want to get involved, even though he's got one of the most influential voices. It's his prerogative to not. But I also think that there's a little bit of, come on, man, like just make a stance on something. That would be good. But I guess that sort of tarnishes his perception or his image as a unbiased. Well, I don't even know if he has that, but
obviously that makes him more a journalist than every journalist that's out there.
That's true. Because
you're not, as a journalist, you're not supposed to pick a side.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that he probably does have a side. He's just not willing to say it in public.
And that's what a journalist is supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know if Joe Rogan would consider himself a journalist, but he
probably not.
What's interesting is that this is, I think, this is the first election that has had both sides going on like deep internet podcasts. We had Kamala, damn it, keep doing it. We had Kamala going on Call Her Daddy. Did you guys see that one?
I did.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not really.
It was fantastic.
Wait, did you say call her daddy or call me daddy?
Call her daddy. No, I ain't calling you daddy. What the fuck?
No, not that. Knock it off. I thought the name of the podcast was called Me Daddy.
No. Call her daddy because they're women. Get it? It's funny.
No, yeah. I don't. Do I see the humor? No. Do I know it's supposed to be funny? Yes.
Yeah. Well, then you had Trump going on places like Theo Vaughn. He was just on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. He was also on Flagrant. He's been doing the rounds on podcasts as well. So this is probably the most podcast-heavy presidential election we've ever had.
For sure.
That's because Trump has always embraced new technologies and things like that. That's kind of his thing. It's not really new for him to do this.
I think you're right about that, but he definitely didn't do enough of that in 2020 or any of that. If I'm being honest.
I would think more so he's just like I've heard people say, and like I've had to say in discussions with other people. He's more of a regular person than a lot of these other politicians.
Right.
So something like going on a podcast, it just seems like sitting down and talking with someone who you might be able to get along with or have a discussion with, versus
Yeah.
going on a radio show
Well,
or going. Sorry.
no, I was going to say, to piggyback on what you're saying, he's always claimed to not be a politician at all,
I mean, I don't think,
and that's what his appeal is to the regular working man. He's not a politician.
Isn't that kind of what it's supposed to be? You know, non-politicians, people who like aren't the politicians supposed to be the consultants of the regular everyday man? Because that's the dream they sell of who can run and who can be president of this country.
Yeah, that used to be cute, right? We used to think that we could become president.
All I gotta do is turn 36, and I could put my name on the ballot.
Yeah.
And put 10 grand up.
Yeah. So to me, it feels like the podcast is the new. Oh, I can have a beer with that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's used to be the line everybody would vote on. You know, like, oh, could you have a beer with this person? Now it's, oh, can they sit down for an hour and a half or 2 hour podcast?
100 minutes of questions,
yeah,
answers, and emotion.
Which I kind of prefer this. I kind of prefer this new wave of things because it at least shows you who the person is, and you get to have more than just a 3-minute clip of, a spliced up segment of an interview. It tends to sort of bring out the people's personalities a bit more, and I think that that's definitely beneficial. I think there's something that we're all not registering here, and I think that that's Trump has a secret weapon now in the form of a 6'8" Nephilim that he calls a son. Barron Trump.
How you talking about Barron like that?
Yeah. Well, he finally turned 18, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Damn, wait, Barron Trump is 18 already? Son?
Yeah, man. Yeah. He just started college.
How old are we?
Very old. Very old.
That's crazy.
But, he just started becoming the new media advisor for his father. So this, I think, is the reason that we're seeing him on so many podcasts.
I mean, it would make sense. He's 18. His thumb is on the pulse. He's a part of this new society that's up and coming. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it might sound crazy, but I think that would be a very smart move, at least to put him in position to be a part of the advisory, maybe not the main advisor.
Or just looking up the podcast to go on.
Yeah. Apparently he's already a campus heartthrob at his college.
That's a bit of information that
and he comes from wealth, so I think he's going to be fine. All right. So what are you guys' predictions here? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think either of them go on Rogan? No. I agree. Not
at all.
It's just not happening. I don't know why everybody's talking about it. All right, we'll take that down now. It's just silly because everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to." I'm like, nah, I don't know, man.
I would be completely surprised if she was willing to even consider going on there, knowing he's going to destroy her with questions she's not ready to answer.
Well, he wouldn't even have to destroy her. You just have to ask follow-up questions.
Right. That would destroy her because everything can't be, well, I was raised in a middle-class family in a condo in the middle of the richest city and had enough money to go buy a big house in another country at a private school and all that kind of business. You can only say that so many times before people start to really, you can only hold a facade for so long.
Yeah. And then Joe Rogan's like, yeah, but have you considered if chimpanzees did DMT?
And that'd be it.
That'd be it.
Her whole head would explode. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Totally.
And all it takes is one question about Willie Brown that she can't handle.
Right.
I think
or Montel Williams.
The next podcast that even Trump goes on, I have a new question that I think will stomp every politician right in their tracks. And this will help us find out who we should and shouldn't vote for. What you need to do from this point forward is ask a politician, if I were to go to Subway for you to get a sandwich for you, what do you want on your sandwich? And the moment they start talking about what company owns Subway, where they get their products from, we just toss them out the window.
I think I would probably say, can we go to Quiznos or Jersey Mike's instead?
See? I'm not upset at that because at least you're still trying to answer the question.
Yeah. Does it have to be Subway?
Right. Man, can we go get a bowl of ramen?
Talk about go ahead, wash your hands of my food. Jeez Louise.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Sounds like we need a new segment. What's the preferred sandwich place in America lately?
That's a good question, honestly. You know what? I haven't had a good sub in a long time. I had Jersey Mike's. They were okay.
That's because Quiznos went out of business already.
Yeah. Quiznos was definitely better. But yeah, they don't really do subs. Subs aren't really a big thing anymore.
That's because a sub
you gotta go to
costs
the
as much
Spanish
as
market and buy a boleta and make your own.
Yeah.
Well, the subs have gotten to where they cost as much as anything else that's expensive, and it's not really worth it.
Shit, I can get a cut of filet mignon for less than a Subway sandwich.
Man, you are Wagyu even.
Yeah. I just picked up a cut of filet mignon for $9, man. That was great.
Oh man, you saved $2 if you had got a Subway sandwich.
Oh, okay, yeah, but it's not like a foot long is not $5 anymore. I know that.
No, it's about 11. It's about 11.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
11. Yeah,
it's not worth it anymore, is what it is.
Definitely not.
It was never worth it. A foot long fill you up.
For $5, that was worth it.
But did it fill you up? You still got two of them things. Oh, no.
For me, absolutely. And
well,
I'm green.
You know what? Back in the day, they used to put like 10 meatballs on a meatball sub.
Yeah.
Throw some pepperoni on that thing for you if you want, whatever vegetables. Now you get a meatball or something like that. Right. You get a meatball or something like that. They got a rubric they got to follow. 3 meatballs.
They got one of those stingy ass spoons they get from corporate that holds exactly 3 meatballs. You know, like they can't scoop anymore.
Right.
Like at Chipotle.
Oh man, listen.
That's what happened with Chipotle, man. The corporate came down, gave them these very specific spoons that only ladle out so much, and that's it.
They're measuring spoons, literally.
They are measuring spoons, yeah. Cheap ass motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, what do you expect from the McDonald's Corporation?
Yeah, fair enough. That is true.
I expect my Big Mac to have sauce. How about that?
How about you get it with chicken on it instead of a meat patty? And you can't really identify that as chicken.
Just because we're having this discussion, I have to be clear. I don't eat none of this shit.
I know.
No,
I know you know.
But I know you used to at one point.
Oh yeah, at one point, the double cheeseburger meal was my thing. What?
Hey man, that's because it was 99 cents, and they did what it needed to do.
Man,
the whole
the meal cheeseburgers on Tuesdays.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I miss 49, 69-cent cheeseburger. Yeah.
Man, that was what, 15 years ago?
Maybe 22.
God, stop it, man. Making me feel old. Well,
I definitely wasn't.
Now you know how I feel.
Over 15.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Joe Rogan and podcasting, there was another gentleman that just had Trump on their podcast. Did you guys catch this?
No,
I saw a clip of it. Yeah, I actually was aware of this.
Surprisingly, for all of the bluster that these gentlemen like to talk, or sorry, pause. Yes, for all of the crap they like to talk, they were.
I'm sorry, and I know I'm cutting you off. I'm not saying pause because you said it. I am. I apologize for that. But I'm not saying pause because there was anything pause worthy of saying. I was saying pause your statement because no, I'm not surprised. Have you heard the way these two fuckers talk? They're peas in the same pot.
That's
and true. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah. I'm just saying I'm not surprised that that's the show.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. So they had an episode together. They did it. It was pretty enjoyable. It was funny. They were all joking around with each other, which was nice. Even though I think Alex was probably seething in his corner and did not really want to acknowledge that he was enjoying himself, but that's okay.
Of course not.
Orange man bad.
Yeah, he still behaved himself like a gentleman, which was nice. But very, very recently after they finished the episode, this is what happened. And this is from Andrew Schulz himself. So I'm going to hit play on this one.
And we get an email 3.5 hours out. And 3.5 hours after the interview, they cancel shows. Read the exact email because they're canceling my shows, but they're also begging Live Nation to not cancel future shows with them. Like they still want business, but they're like, just not this guy. Now, I don't know if it's a Trump interview, but The day before it came out, we were ready to go and we are going on sale this week. And 3.5 hours afterwards, we get this email.
Yeah.
First off, I want to thank you for thinking of BAM for Andrew Schultz's upcoming comedy show. We are always excited when promoters consider our space for their events. After some internal discussions with leadership, it was decided that BAM is not the right fit for this show at this time. That said, we really do appreciate you reaching out. We'd love to work with you in the future and for future events that might be a better match for BAM. And we get an email 3.5 hours out.
All right. Well, thoughts, guys? Yeah.
That's mighty suspicious.
That's mighty suspicious.
I think that's a part of the setup. It's normal, but not in the way it should be, right? Typically when you do something that they other entities don't agree with, and because everything runs on a private platform nowadays, they're allowed to say we don't want this person here. What I think is nasty about it is when you listen, if I'm a part of Live Nation and Andrew Schulz is one of my talent that we're promoting, you have a choice as a venue, right? You're either accepting our talent because this is what we're promoting and what we're bringing, or you don't. You don't get to pick and choose after the contract signed.
Yeah, I would say that that's fair, unless you have a morality clause, and then you'd have to really get down and dirty with the legalese about what
morality you mean?
Yeah, what the breach in morality would be, because I think that that's what they would probably have to cite, right? You know, you have a contract with the company, and so if they have certain morality clauses, then you might be in breach of that. But then you have to ask yourself, why is interviewing a presidential candidate a morality breach?
Exactly.
It's not,
because it's a personal preference that's coming in between business.
Right. Exactly. And that's really what it is. It's you know, like sacrificing the sort of business components of what you're doing, which is a business, and sort of injecting your own personal fees about it and getting upset. Sorry, I mean, like it's a, you know, like Johnny Carson got to interview a whole bunch of, presidential candidates. Did he ever get canceled for that?
Well, cancel wasn't
was before
back in
cancel
the Carson days, but I understand what your question is, and I'm sure that Carson got some pushback even for just interviewing certain celebrities back then. But that's exactly the point, Nick. Is you have a template that's already been put forth that's been running for 60, 70, 100 years almost at this point, if not more, without the cameras around, right? We're even thinking about back to radio days. You interview or you do certain things. Same thing I was saying about the Rogan situation. You run the risk of course, losing a couple of followers, getting a couple of people that were on your side to look at you a little different, getting people who weren't on your side to come over to your side. But when I don't want to say the powers that be, but when the governing factors start becoming the venues, when the governing factors start becoming the media outlets that promote Lord knows what else, but you're mad at me because of somebody I sat down with, we have a whole, especially when it's a presidential candidate. It's just,
I have a question.
Weird.
Do you guys know what it's called when corporations get to restrict the freedoms of people?
Violation of your rights.
No, there's an actual term for it.
What?
Business as usual?
Well, sure. But it's something that they ironically cry about all the time.
I think I know what you're getting at, but to be fair, they're able to suppress your regular rights all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, just because it's happening before doesn't mean that it's okay. You can always.
Well, I just mean you don't really have a freedom of speech at work.
No, I get there's a difference though.
Right.
I would say this is a clear difference. Now, again, if there's some sort of morality clause that he's in breach of, then perhaps we have a discussion. But it seems to me that it's quite just a petty response of a corporation trying to regulate the behavior of a free citizen to express themselves. And we used to call that fascism. I don't know what we're calling it now, but apparently it's just business as usual.
I think nowadays we're calling it cancel culture.
Well, I mean, Isn't it interesting that all of the people that cry about fascism are also clapping when the corporations steal people's livelihoods or punish people extrajudiciously?
You mean
Yep.
Marxism?
No, it's fascism. It's the marriage of the corporations and the state.
Well, I know, but what I mean is, Marxism says that you have to point. Sorry, it just says that you have to point the finger at people and accuse them of doing what you yourself are actually doing.
Oh yeah, well that's rule right out of Rules for Radicals by
Right.
Saul Alinsky. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you got it from.
Yeah, definitely.
The Saul Alinsky?
The Saul Alinsky, yeah.
The one Obama said was his inspiration.
Mentor.
I think that was Obama.
I think it was more mentor than inspiration, but I guess same ballpark.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all to say. I think that we're at this point where it's just like, can we just not? I mean, like, why do we have all of these kvetching, pearl-clutching, church ladies? I mean, like, this is just like it's the satanic panic all over again, right? It's the church ladies grasping their pearls over, over Kiss and video games.
Is it though?
Tipper Gore shit. Yes, of course it is. It's the
I was
same
about to say
energy.
Tipper Gore.
Yeah, it's the exact same energy. It's just not dressed up in the religious garb anymore.
Right. And who would think when you listen to our regular reviews that we have brains on us like these?
Hey, well, we do try to break down the BS in movies and TV, and there's a lot of it. So I did just recently. I recently tried to watch the Interview with the Vampire, the TV show.
The reboot.
Yeah, the reboot. So it's not a reboot; it's a continuation of the story. But what's funny is that they make Brad Pitt's character black, even though they purposely set up the story that it is Brad Pitt.
Wait, repeat that.
So the Interview with the Vampire. Yeah, the Interview with the Vampire TV show is a continuation of the movie. So Brad Pitt plays Louis in the movie, and in the TV show, it's like
Louis black now.
Well, yeah, and so the reporter gets this letter from Louis, like, I would like to meet you again because I want to continue the story that we started back in the movie or whatever. Except now Louis is black, and they don't mention it at all. Like,
don't worry about this.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, like, you could have just remade the movie and not brought in the Brad Pitt aspect of it, and that would have been totally fine. But for some reason, you had to pretend like Brad Pitt is this young black man now. For some reason, like.
Well, Brad Pitt is debonair enough to be a young black man.
I mean, both of them were quite debonair. I wasn't taking anything away from the black man. I just thought it was interesting. Like, are we not going to address the fact that you're in a totally different body than the last time I saw you? I mean, maybe. But
brothers ain't really into plastic women, so I don't know if that's the same thing.
What? What planet are you living on recently?
The single one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, there ain't nothing but plastic women out here nowadays. That's all they.
What I mean is this. Well, what I mean, we call. First of all, you said boy.
I apologize. I see.
But
I see how I kerfuffled you a little bit there. I apologize.
Well, think about it this way. Young black men probably do like a woman who dress up and has certain attributes, but I don't think they care for the ones who have a lot of surgeries. Is what I'm saying. BBLs, yeah, you get rappers who like that, but regular dudes probably not so much because it's might be interesting to look at, but nobody wants to smell that at home. If you understand what I'm saying.
How the hell did we get from Interview with a Vampire to BBLs? What happened here? I missed something.
Talking about the interest of the young black male, and to comment on that, Mike, I don't think there's any young people nowadays who are really into that, but it's what they have to deal with.
Right. That different arguments. I understand that for sure.
Okay. Now let's get back to Interview with the Vampire before you dive down into the rabbit hole.
Right. Okay. Not dive, fall.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No. Needless to say, I just decided to not watch it because I'm like, I can't deal with that. I'm sorry.
Is that a new show?
I think it came out like maybe a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Really? I thought it was
Yeah.
only a couple months old. I didn't know it was that old.
Maybe. I mean, like, it could have been. Honestly, I don't know. There's only one season of it, but again, like, I thought there was just going to be like a complete remake or like a reboot, which would have kind of made sense to me. But the fact that they sort of like continued it from the movie into the future was like, I don't
You
know.
know, to be fair, if you read any of the Anne Rice stories,
Yeah.
it let's just say it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, is it possible that they can body jump in the Anne Rice
No,
universe?
no.
Okay.
no. Her works are very out there though, as far as content. So yeah, switching from black to white, not that big a leap for me because I've read some of it and my mind was blown because I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's all in the diet. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Because it's not for everybody to digest. That's for sure.
Right. Yes.
Not everybody can be a pony.
No. What I meant was maybe Louis turned black because of his diet. He changed his diet or something.
Right. I understood what you were saying because they were in Louisiana, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
He was eating all that Creole.
I'm sitting here listening to Mike like, what?
I'm tap dancing around a lot of stuff. That's why.
I know. I know you're.
I'm trying to hold it together.
We appreciate that.
Fool around and say the wrong thing.
Oh, it's all too easy nowadays. I think we've already said a few wrong things.
Oh, we've definitely.
We haven't even gotten to the spicy stuff yet.
No, I know.
I thought you were gonna say something about Ice Spice. Like, why are we doing this?
No.
The hell is an Ice Spice?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. I apologize. I shouldn't have did that to you.
Thank you.
I respect you too much, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I definitely have reviews on that one. That'll get me in a whole lot of trouble if I even say them.
All right. That's
so fair. Moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along. Well, speaking of trouble, there was a clip that Keelan saw on his feed that he wanted to bring up, and I'm going to pull it up right now. But it had to deal with literacy and you know the sort of incarceration rates, and if there might be a correlation between the two. So I'm going to bring this up now, right? Yeah. And we're going to play that for Keelan, and he can take us through what he thinks about this.
They build jails based on 4th grade population reading level. So if you aren't able to read by 4th grade, that's the projection that they use to build the institution. So you got to start early.
What? Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Failing in reading, we know they're going to be future inmates.
Yes. If you don't put them on the right path to success. Because why aren't they reading? Are they getting the help they need at home? Mm-hmm. Are they in the right schools? Mm-hmm. What's contributing to that illiteracy or not being able to read?
How do we protect Black men? They're being prosecuted.
You have to just make sure that we start them before they get to that point where they need a lawyer or that they're facing criminal prosecution or any sort of action. And that is with the mentoring, with the sponsoring.
Yeah.
It's all about who they see, who they want to emulate, who's pouring into them first. You got to grab our kids before the gang grabs them.
As a white man, I must say I cede my commentary to my co-hosts.
Racism.
All right, Keelan, what thoughts were elicited from this video for you?
Well, I just thought it was a interesting use of statistics, if that is really how they decide where to build a new prison and or how large to make it. First off, that's a very specific time in life for any child, Black, white, in between, male or female. But specifically the literacy level, you really think that through. And I personally, I'm very big on telling people in general, like your kid needs to learn how to read. Like once your kid learns how to read, then you can give them the iPad and all that other shit because they have some level of understanding and comprehension. That all comes with reading. Mm-hmm. But how far are they going? Like, are they just considering why these kids can't read, or are they actually doing some homework to find out what's going on the backside? Why aren't these kids reading? Because we have a lot of different factors, especially in today's era, especially with these kids being what do we call them? Screen babies, right?
So, I thought you meant scream babies, like they're all
Uh,
wearing little ghost face masks.
no,
Oh no.
Okay.
But no, screen babies. Like all of these children nowadays, basically from inception, the moment they get their first breath of oxygen, they got an iPhone, an iPad, or some level of a screen right in front of them.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why a good portion of kids can't read any longer. But most statistics will show you that this is actually a trending topic or a trending thing that's been going on since the 80s. So since all of us were children,
Yeah.
there's been a real deficiency in literacy.
Well,
Well,
young
I
men.
got a statistic for you here. Just off of a cursory glance here on the internet, it says in 2014, about 92% of American adults had a level 1 literacy, and now it's about 79%. So
Mm,
well, when I was a
we're not
kid,
doing so great.
well,
mm.
when I was a kid growing up, I didn't learn to read until I think I was in the third grade, something like that. I didn't learn
Yeah.
until later in my school life because they just didn't teach it to me.
Uh-huh.
So by the time I learned, I was kind of behind myself.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't because I wasn't willing to learn or because I wasn't encouraged to learn. I just wasn't taught.
Right.
Like they didn't really go over ABCs with us. I don't know why. I don't remember why. Because I was little. You don't know why you're not taught something when you're that little. But
Oh yeah.
I'm not even sure of the grade. I could be completely blowing the grade and all that kind of stuff because I don't know at what grade you're supposed to learn to read. I just don't remember, and I don't have kids, so it's not something on the forefront of my mind. But I
Yeah.
know that when I was little, I ended up going from a private schools and public schools because I had a mixture of that when I was little to a private school that actually started to teach me my ABCs, and I didn't learn it until later, and then it was a whole thing when I was a kid.
That's
So I
okay,
know if
man.
it
Don't feel
happened to
bad
me,
about yourself. I didn't learn to tie my shoes until I was about 10. So,
how
Well, I mean,
dare
here
they?
I think the ironic thing for both of those scenarios is everybody is different. There is a learning curve for different things. Some people advance in other fields or other areas before they do certain things that people would think is rudimentary. Maybe reading, maybe tying your shoe, right? But when it comes to the reading thing, I would think that if you're having a lack of literacy or a lack of, yeah, I guess literacy, I was going to say efficacy, but a lack of literacy in reading, you're failing in other areas for sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, of course, especially because reading sort of stimulates different parts of the brain. You have the sort of analytical side that reads the words and puts them into a structural sentence. And then you have the abstract side of the brain that is creating the image in your head of what the words are saying. So it's really a total brain workout.
You
Um,
know,
yeah.
that makes me think about what I just saw recently. I probably should have told you guys about it. It would have kind of coincided with this.
Yeah, you should.
People, right? People reading and hearing a voice in their head, saying the words in their head as they're reading it, and it slows you down instead of just reading it and comprehending the word as you read it or see it on the page or whatever
Yeah.
screen you're looking at it on. Because I hear it, I hear the word in my head when I read.
Yeah,
And,
I do kind of read in my head.
and
Definitely. I'm
apparently
not one of those.
that's not everybody who does that.
No, I know there are some people who are like speed readers who can sort of like read a whole block of texts within a few seconds.
Right.
I've never been that way, although
Me either.
it's a great, it's a cool thing to do, especially if you're that good at reading, then you just amass like a whole bunch of books in your repertoire, which is nice.
Right. But and it goes to comprehension, and it speaks to how you perceive language and all kinds of different aspects of it. So I mean, it kind of coincides with what we're talking about now.
Yeah,
with
for me,
literacy.
for me, it was never about comprehension, but retention. It's like,
Yeah.
How long do you want me to remember that thing for?
Right.
Because I could maybe do it for a few days, but then it's going to
find out amount of space up here, ma'am.
It's going to be a race for my hard drive really fast.
You got 10 good minutes with me.
That's why I watched The Office. That's why I've watched The Office probably like 24 times.
Wow. And look, see the same episode 5 times and be like, man,
yeah. Because I'm like a goldfish. I'll just forget everything in it, and it's like, all right, I'm good.
Nick goes, man, they play basketball in the basement, in the storeroom. That's crazy. Right? I didn't know they played basketball in the warehouse.
Yeah, and Roy checked the shit out of Jim. Yeah.
Yo, that is still crazy because I don't care what nobody say. Was Roy a big douchey? Yes. Do I think Jim could have took him? Maybe, but
no idea what y'all talking about.
But Jim was creeping on his girl. I don't blame him for being aggressive about that.
Jim was definitely creeping on his girl, and that's where Jim was wrong. That's where I was like, you know what? Y'all getting too close.
Yeah, the older you get, the more you realize Jim and Pam are the villains of The Office.
Oh my God, Jim and Pam are out of pocket.
Yeah, they're the worst.
When you're young, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. They got people they get along with. They're really good friends. You get a little older, you get in a relationship, you look back and you go, fuck Jim and Pam.
They destroyed so many lives.
My Lord. and they were never in denial. They just never had the opportunity to be upfront about it.
And then when they didn't have the guts to do anything about it, and then they retreated back into their safe little lives and then hurt more people for it. So fuck Jim and Pam. They're awful
bastards.
What is the older you get, the more you realize they're the bad guys in The Office. That's for sure. All right, sure. I'm gonna stop sharing that for now.
Yeah, I have no idea what y'all getting at.
I know, because The Office is too white for you. I get it.
It's like eating mayonnaise.
Dude, I'm sorry. The Office is one of the best shows ever. I need you to stop.
This is true
right now.
Didn't you also say that about that other show with Billy Baldwin?
Billy Baldwin? When is he in it?
One of those Baldwin dudes and Tracy Morgan.
No, I've never said that 30 Rock's the best show ever. I think that people who like 30 Rock are pretentious, but I enjoy it for what it is. But I think that they like it because they're a bit pretentious.
I like.
Oh, that was Keelan that said that. He liked it.
I don't know how to say this. I like 30 Rock. Yeah, I watched 30 Rock probably like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I like it too, but I won't say it's like the best show ever. I know people who are like, "Oh no, it's the height of comedy." I'm like, "No, it's funny, but it's like
it though?
Yeah,
Parks
it's
and
like
Rec
SNL
is better.
Yeah, Parks and Rec is definitely better.
Parks
Never
and Rec
saw
is
that one
better,
either.
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine smokes all of them.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is very funny.
How is it that I never got into any of these shows?
Because you're a loser.
Fuddy-duddy. Yeah.
Fuddy-duddy.
Fuddy-duddy.
I'll be that.
Yeah, you watch all of these terrible horror movies, but you don't have the time to watch a sitcom.
You'd rather watch I Was Reincarnated as Slime.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic show.
Right.
Hater.
I'm not saying it's a bad show.
All my nerds will agree.
If you cut Nick off one more time, he's just going to repeat himself when you're done.
It's just a lag anyways. Now I just recently watched a Velocipaster. Have you seen that one?
What?
Oh yeah, so Amazon has like a whole string of B-list or D-list horror movies, and they're really good. They're really good.
Wait a minute, what's it called again? Velocipaster?
Yeah, Velocipaster. Yeah.
Is it a raptor pastor?
It's a pastor who travels to China and gets stabbed by a raptor claw in a fight. And then he comes back home and he turns into a were-raptor.
That sounds awesome.
It's terrible, but it's funny.
It sounds so bad that it's good.
Yeah. It's the same. It's basically in the same category as Lamageddon. Did you guys watch that?
Oh no, I never saw Lamageddon, but I know what it is.
Lamageddon, dude. Okay. So you got to go into Amazon and you got to look for like the worst rated horror flick and then go to people also liked, and then you'll have this long list of Llamageddon, Velocipaster. They had a Sharktopus.
You know what we watching next, right?
Yeah, dude,
No.
check it out.
By no means.
Fucked up now.
It's all good fun. I mean, you know, Slaughterhouse was definitely a step above that stuff, but
Was it though?
it's in the same vein. It's in the same vein.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like an awesome lineup. Hope y'all ready.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Never.
All right. Just a handful more stories before we wrap this up. Do you guys want to talk about the phone thing or the tunnels first?
You know what? I got one. You got one. Mike, your choice.
Let's go with the tunnels.
All right, we're going to do the tunnels. So this video came out on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter because I'm a boomer. And everybody was losing their mind because this was such a revelation to people. Although I don't necessarily disbelieve it, even though it has been currently fact checked. So apparently this isn't real, everybody. So don't get, you know, don't get us for misinformation. But you know, like you know, I still believe it. So, but then again, I believe
right there with you.
Now that I live in the mountains, I believe in Bigfoot. It's true. He's out here, man. He's out here. Let's see.
You got to be worried about skinwalkers.
No. Skinwalkers are too far away from us. That's just you know, if for some reason my wife goes back to the res, she might bring a skinwalker back. But,
Jesus Christ! Don't say that. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying. All right, so we're gonna watch this here. This has been circulating on the internet, and people are freaking out about it. So let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Is expired, and you could talk about this. You used to work at a secret Starbucks, is that right?
Yeah, there is a Starbucks that is like above reserve, like a Starbucks no one's ever heard of or been to. All right. Have you ever wondered while driving in Los Angeles, how come you've never seen like Will Smith stuck in traffic on the 405?
Yeah.
I've never seen a 1%er just in their car stuck in traffic.
Why is that?
That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the Actor Bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX, you can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there in those tunnels is Starbucks set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All of them. Seinfeld.
You've seen Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a good tipper?
They don't have to pay.
So this has been underneath Los Angeles for a few years now. I mean, how long has this been there for?
I mean, it predates me. It seems like the city was built on top of it. So, I mean, I think this goes all the way back to the 20s.
This doesn't seem real almost. This is crazy.
I imagine how I sound saying it to people.
All right, gents, thoughts. We are all LA natives.
Well, let me just say this.
Yeah.
We have catacombs underneath Vegas where homeless people live.
That's true.
That was actually that in New York was going to be 2 of my examples.
And we got catacombs underneath Paris where people disappear.
That is true as well.
So this being a real thing is not all that far-fetched.
Well, and didn't we have Elon doing the Boring Company? What do you think? Maybe do you think that he completed the Boring Tunnel project and just made it for the extremely wealthy?
I think it was probably already done years ago, like he said, in the 20s.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there's homeless people who probably live in those tunnels and know about them that we just don't have access to.
Oh, yeah, but they're just there for the organs.
There you go.
The harvest.
Yeah, the harvest. Of course, this got fact checked and it's, oh, no, it's a skit. It's not real. But I think there's probably a little bit more truth to this than.
Think about comedy.
Yeah.
How what do they always say about comedy? It's always a little bit of truth to every joke.
Yeah.
If this is a joke, there's probably some truth to it, just the same.
I
Because
agree.
we know there are tunnels under New York.
Oh yeah.
We won't say who using them, but we know who.
No, we won't. Yeah. You know what's fascinating? If you look at any major city, it looks like the city has been built on top of the city.
Right.
Yeah, maybe even twice over.
Yeah. Sometimes twice over. Yeah. I know San Francisco is like that. I know Chicago, I think in certain parts is like that.
Hey, as far as we know, this could be the third iteration of the civilizations that we live in right now.
Yeah, it's just like a Sim City where they just like level the city and then build on top of it. That's probably what happened.
I mean, let's just say there are certain pyramids that can't be explained, so we don't know how many civilizations those are from ago.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Oh, by the way, check out season 2 of Ancient Civilizations or Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix.
I knew you was gonna have something.
Yeah,
I saw that was out.
Yeah. Ancient Apocalypse with Graham Hancock on Netflix. Check it out now. Season 2. Season 1 was pretty interesting. So
pay us for these promos.
I know, right? Thank you to one person watching us right now. We really appreciate you, but we definitely feel like we're undervalued in the YouTube space. So we'll have to,
family.
Yeah, we'll have to up it up because yeah, we're gonna have to start taking shots at all of those grifters out there.
Shots of Jaeger.
No, that'll make me sick. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, you guys think it's plausible, right?
Absolutely.
I definitely think it's plausible. You got to think that there are secret networks and stuff like that.
I'm more curious as to how it wouldn't be.
We know even on a microcosm, Disneyland is built that way.
Right.
Yeah. So there's an entire underground system that helps the employees get around the park without being seen. So
I'm willing to believe just about any conspiracy theory out there that's way far-fetched, just because I think all that stuff is possible simply because it's all possible.
That's the best reason.
I mean, I know that sounds like word salad, but if you understand what I'm saying, it makes sense.
Yeah.
In the context of what has been, all is possible. That all is possible.
To be unburdened by it, though.
Yeah, you got to be. I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. I need to unburden myself by all that's possible of what was had already done.
You know, to be fair, now that I know where that comes from, we definitely shouldn't. We shouldn't even joke about that.
Oh, I know.
That is an awful quote.
Oh yeah, of course.
But if you don't know, it just seems like word salad. But when you know, yikes!
I'm one of those people over here sitting here like, what? How? What?
Well, basically, it means that you have to kill people for there to not be a record of what you're about to do.
Well, to be unburdened from the past is to sever yourself completely from it, right?
Oh,
right.
Okay.
You have to sever yourself completely from the past in order to build the new tomorrow.
Right.
Which is basically the rubric for utopianism.
Right.
Right. I actually realize I have heard that, and I do know what it means and where it comes from. Got it.
Yep.
Well, somebody famously says it quite a bit.
Don't they?
Do they not, though?
And I know she knows what it means when she say it because her daddy a whole professor of it.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Right.
But before we get into too much of the deep waters of politics, we're going to move right along again. We're almost to the pop culture section, guys, even though that's probably going to be political too. So
everything is at this point.
Yeah, we can't escape it. We're going to
create the situation. We got thrust into it.
Right. We're going to jump into this final story from Keelan here. This is just a little clip that he got from the Twitter space. It says, watch out before you go through another person's phone. Oh, my God.
Posted by Boyce Watkins.
Oh, God.
It is now illegal to go through your husband's phone. And this is for every ear that can hear me. This is not just a Texas issue. This is also a federal crime. The Federal Wiretap Act states it is unlawful to intercept any wire, oral, or electronic communication. It is also unlawful to disclose the contents of the wire, oral, or electronic communication. Y'all know what's considered electronic communication? Text messages, emails, DMs. And it doesn't matter if you're in a community property state, saying that the phone is community property will not work. Even if your husband willingly gave you his password, it still would not work. The courts feel that even if he did give you the password, you went beyond the scope of what he thought you would reasonably be doing with his phone, such as taking screenshots of a text message that you would eventually use against him in court. I was in court waiting on my turn, watching another hearing before me. It was a divorce case, and the wife was on the stand talking about adultery. Her attorney then started the process of admitting text messages into evidence that showed the husband was talking to this woman, and it was very inappropriate. The text messages 100% proved husband was cheating. There was photos, there was conversations about the other night. All of a sudden, husband lawyer jumps up and says, Your Honor, I think you need to admonish the witness about her Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination because she's about to tell on herself and admit to a crime. Then he turns ever so slightly and says, I think you might want to tell her lawyer as well because they'll both be in jail together. Judge then proceeds to tell her that how she came about getting those text messages out of her husband.
Well, that just ends abruptly. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm calling cap. What happened is that a guy decided to hire a woman on Fiverr and make her wear a judge's robe and run this whole monologue so that she could show it to his, so he could show it to his girl. So that she doesn't go into his phone anymore.
Just so you know why this ain't okay.
That's what it is. Also, I call Cap. I'm calling Cap though too because she says that she was sitting in court waiting for her turn, but she overheard a court case. That's not how that type of thing usually works.
Yeah.
You don't usually have two lawyers speaking to each other at like a quick arraignment sort of thing, or traffic court or whatever. So I don't really know. I don't know. I think that this is all just made up so that guys don't have their phones snooped into, which I'm for. You know, go ahead, guys.
1,000% in support of that.
Maybe you can go on to Cameo and have Judge Judy do this, so that way you know.
You know what? That's something we should have covered. We should have covered how Cameo is being used again in this era.
Yeah. You know, you say Cameo, and the only thing I can think of is a song pop right in my head.
Of course.
Because I'm old like that.
Your old ass. Right. Cameo? What? Cameo back together? No,
What's Jesus. The word up?
Well, okay. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, obviously there are ways to get around this that the law uses all the time. It's interesting to me that you might be able to say that there's a reasonable expectation when somebody looks into your phone. Now, of course, when law enforcement they're privy to everything. But if a private third party were to do it, I guess you could say that there is a reasonable expectation about what you would do with the phone. And, you know, of course, you always have to be very careful about how you admit evidence into court, because if you do it, if you gather the evidence illegally, it'll be thrown out. So,
my questionable concern would be, what if you're on like an Apple network and you're texting something on your phone that pops up on your iPad, on your laptop, and the other person is using it and they see it? Is that still considered illegal because you see it in real time?
Well,
I would say no, because you're stupid enough to tie your devices together.
People are. There's lots of cases of that.
So I actually looked this up after seeing this because I was like, nah, that's bullshit. It might not be as fake as we want it to be.
There's probably some truth to it.
There is some truth to it. And most of it, like she kind of said in the video, caters to those wiretap states, places where wiretaps are already kind of a thing.
You mean Patriot Act?
No. It's the Patriot Act when they're generally doing it to all of us. It's wiretaps when you hire a private firm to do it against someone.
I don't know the difference.
Fair. So suppose suppose you're sitting there and you own the phone. Your name is on the phones, so you're the person in the relationship that's paying all the bills. You have everything in your name, things like that. According to some of the things that I read, that still doesn't make it acceptable. And I'm kind of also with Nick on the terms of this shit can't be real. And somebody found a way to pay somebody to just say this out loud, and now it's kind of fucking everybody up, right?
Does that change if it's a family plan?
Whose name is on the family plan? Who owns it?
Well, couldn't it be both?
But here's the thing. Again, that part doesn't matter. It's not your device.
Well, what I mean is this: I've at one point in a relationship I had purchased a phone for someone, and their name was on the phone as well as under my plan. So it was a combination of both our names.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you're gonna have to take that to Reddit or one of those legal forums and find out how that works.
I think the smartphone and social media has done has created a real problem with our Fourth Amendment rights. That's for sure.
Basically.
Well, that's because social media is evil.
Well, yes, of course. Could it be Satan? Yeah.
Hey, you like to joke and say that, but when you get to the brass tacks, some of that stuff is.
Well, sure. I know you are. Bobby Boucher's mom's already told me that.
The devil.
It's the devil.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So anything else you want to say about this game?
I mean, honestly, I'm just curious to know how real it is. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that it really would affect because I don't hide much. I'm not that kind of person. But
I do.
When you get into people being able to being able to hide things, being able to search for things, and or overall just being able to violate each other on a certain level, I think it's important on either side of this, right? I think it's important to know that maybe society and the way the laws are moving are changing along with the way that society is moving, and people are moving very what's the word I'm looking for?
Sneakily? Stealthily?
Sneakily, I guess so. But yeah, people are disgusting nowadays.
Well, they've
There's
been
no
disgusting.
respect. But I'm just saying there's not a lot of respect and accountability, and I'm curious to know whether or not the law is starting to cater to those who no longer have to be held accountable.
Well, I would say that, it would be nice for our personal property to extend to devices and things like that. Because if you think about it, like there's one thing if I invite you into my home, if you break into my home, that's another thing, right? So an argument could be made that if you let somebody see your phone and then they extract information that they could use to harm you and you gave them permission, then there might be a gray area there.
Hey, guess what?
But if they broke into your phone to get that information, then they've clearly committed a criminal act.
Hey, guess what though?
What though?
If you don't have any nudes in your phone, there's no news to leak, is there?
Yeah, but I don't like that argument though, because if you don't have anything to hide, then don't worry about the Patriot Act and don't worry about the encroachment on your rights and all that.
That's a different argument. I understand that. But what I'm saying is because if I don't have any nudes on my phone to be leaked, no one can steal them.
That's certainly true, but it doesn't make breaking into your phone okay.
Right.
No, it does not.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like, exactly. Like if you're not a terrorist, the Patriot Act shouldn't bother you.
It does bother me.
Right.
Because you're stealing.
But you're not a terrorist. So
I am a terrorist.
Oh God, don't say that on YouTube. You can't say that on YouTube. God, I play the Spanish fly music, but they'll just pop us.
Lose situation there, sounds like.
Very much so. Very much so. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you planned on accomplishing with that, Mike.
Random jokes.
You don't either. Got it.
No, since we've already sort of pushed the boundaries of what we normally talk about, I'm going to close it out with one last story that's a little bit lighter. Not really lighter, but it's something that we've talked about before. So we're going to bring this up. No. Well, I mean, I guess in the both of these last things are sort of about that. Yeah. So, but I regret to inform you guys that Velma has been canceled after 2 seasons.
Oh,
Yay!
no.
I mean, no.
I didn't even know they had a second season. To be
Doesn't that
fair,
break you up inside? Aren't you just so sad about it, though?
Shattered.
no, because I heard it was awful. And then I was like, wait, there's a second season?
Yeah.
I thought it got canceled after the first.
I did too, actually.
Because we could have reviewed how awful it is. I would have been down to do it.
Nope. We collectively decided to stop after 1 episode. What are you?
Well, it only took 1 episode, too. It just took 1 episode, and we were like, nah, that's good. So, yeah, 2 episodes. I definitely think what happened was that they were on contract for 2 episodes or 2 seasons. And so they just did the 2 seasons, and that was it. Although they do say here in the article, a reason for the cancellation has not been given, but it could have something to do with the reviews and criticism that the series got.
Wait a minute. I distinctly remember Keelan telling me how much he loves Mindy.
Yeah, he did say that a lot. He said that he was really excited. He really loved all of it. Yeah.
He said she was the funniest female comedian that ever come out. I mean,
I'm not denying that you were definitely trying to gaslight me right now, because you are. But I actually have nothing against Mindy pre all of this. But the new Mindy is that's a whole different monster right there.
Because she used to be funny somehow?
When she was writing The Office?
Yeah, actually.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I've never known her to make me chuckle.
I've never known you to chuckle.
Episodes of The Office.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I think you've made me laugh more than she ever has.
It's plausible, but you also didn't watch The Office.
I did not. I didn't know she was on it.
Yeah, Kelly Kapoor. Well, all of that to say that this is just an advertisement for our channel, guys. Go check out our episode 1 review of Velma, where we watched 1 episode and decided to never watch it again. It's a good one.
Doesn't that stand the reason we should have watched 1 episode of season 2?
Nah, because it wasn't even worth another chance, to be honest.
It was not.
It wasn't.
I think I watched more than 1 episode of this first season, even though we only reviewed the 1. I think I watched more of it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty awful.
Look who liked it now.
No, I never said I liked it.
But you watched more than Keelan did.
And? Mm-hmm. That doesn't say much.
Who's the Mindy Kaling lover now? Got him.
Not really.
Yeah.
Because he watched an entire season of her content. See, multiple. No, let me rephrase that. Multiple seasons of content with her in it.
I would like to throw that out as conjecture, because he has no proof of this. He only knows by what we just said.
I know, that's true.
The Office.
You don't even know anything about
no proof of this.
I have no clue about any of The Office. You are correct. However, I know you both watch it and you both enjoyed it, so it stands to reason you've watched every episode at least twice.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially you, Nick. Especially you.
I've watched the entire series probably about a dozen.
There you go. So you're a Mindy fan.
I love her. I think she's great.
See?
I just think that she sucked at making Scooby-Doo.
That's all.
Now we just got to watch her make curry with Kamala.
Bruh.
Wow. What are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry if you didn't know they actually did that. That was a thing that happened.
Oh, you know what? That's true. I did remember seeing.
Yeah, so why are you trying to give me shit? She said she looked like her auntie, and they could be relatives.
No, that really did happen. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
You're being so out of pocket. No.
You know what? I know this is how bad. This is exactly what I was kind of hinting at a little bit earlier. The world has gotten so bad that something that Mike says that legitimately sounds like you should not say out loud is an actual life occurrence.
Right.
He was just stating a fact. That was it.
I expect a written apology from both of you.
I apologize. I'll get
it notarized tomorrow. Damn, that was my bad. Wow.
I promise. I was over here like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
He's putting us up on game. Nothing's wrong with him. What's wrong with us?
Hey, when you put that together with her cooking greens in the bathtub, woo,
Man,
now I
that's
gotta
some
go.
good home cooking. Go ahead, wash your hands of my food type thing.
hey, now that might be inappropriate.
See, there's a layer of plausible deniability there. So,
Oh, well, you're right, because if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't.
Exactly.
Because that song is hilariously funny to me.
It's the best. It's the best.
I'm gonna watch it when we get off of here, just because it's still
I
funny.
probably will too, to be honest. I get it stuck in my head sometimes. Thinking in my head, go on, wash your hands of my food. Go on, do what you do.
Especially because they keep coming out with new content without the song.
I know.
Oh dang.
They keep making new videos like every other day.
Dang.
And they don't put the song to it, but if they did, it would fit perfect.
They're just adding into the pot.
Man,
Pun intended.
literally.
You see, I say pun intended.
You know, my stomach's starting to hurt thinking about it.
Well,
starting to bubble.
Right. Oh, my stomach bubbling.
It doesn't seem like we were alone in our disdain for the season 1 of Velma, because it looks like the season only received a 38% approval rating
from 6 people.
Tomatoes. And that was a 7% audience score, so I think that's probably closer to.
So that mean what, like 6 people watched it?
I think that the reviewers, legit reviewers, pretended that it was great for a little while until it got, all of the audience
got outed.
Yeah.
So the people who had the cojones enough to say they didn't like it stepped up.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna look back at in like 20 years. You remember the show I Love the 90s?
I do.
We were going.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like it was either VH1 or MTV. I think it was VH1, where they did this panel where it's like they review the entire decade of the 80s or the 90s, and they talk about all the fads and stuff. We're gonna get like the one-hit wonders of TV and movie, where you're gonna get all of these franchises that were supposed to be big sellers and do really well, but they absolutely flopped. I would say that probably She-Hulk is also going to be a part of that.
Oh, did you see where she was upset because she got cut out of Wolverine and Deadpool?
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she got upset. Apparently, there was a cameo with She-Hulk in it, and she was. I think she's going to try to sue for being taken out of it.
For being cut out on an editing floor? That's part of it.
For being on the editing floor, but still getting paid for her cameo.
Right. If you made the editing floor, you got to check.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I can cut me from every movie I want to, long as I was there on set.
Speaking of which, did you guys see where the chick who was in the Star Wars Acolyte is upset with the fandom?
Her name is Amanda Stenberg. Put some spec on her name, bro.
Yeah, whatever.
SPE.
Did you see? She did a whole music video.
Oh, that was so bad, man. Oh my god. She was mumbling and didn't enunciate, and she was talking like this.
It was so crazy.
Oh, it was a rap song, but she was rapping like this.
Being pretty is not a talent.
No, it's really not. It's really not. Man.
Says anybody who has a talent for anything, and my talent is I can cross my eyes. How about that?
You take that back.
Northwest has more talent.
She was awful, honestly.
Both of them are awful, but she got more talent.
What's so crazy is I had to say what you said out loud to realize what you said, because I was like, Northwest? What do you mean? Those are directions, isn't they? Nope. We're talking about
not anymore. They're not.
Someone's child.
Yep. Yeah. Well, stay la vie, Velma. We hardly knew ye, but I'm sure you'll just join the elephant graveyard of terrible in the years 2020 to 2024.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna speak for the audience and say, because Mike wanted to sing na 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 na, I have no clue what you just said, Nick.
No, I could feel it.
My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not your fault. The effect and the intent was great, but the result was not.
Yeah. I was just saying, well, Velma will join the graveyard of the terrible movies and TV shows that occurred between 2020 and 2024.
Oh yeah, they need to put an incinerator down in that thing because
I think we'll be calling this the dark age of cinema.
So let me ask this just for clarification. We haven't had a decent set of movie years since like 2019. Not that we haven't had any good movies, but we haven't had a good like run of movies since like 2019.
Because you need tragedy to get good art, and there's not been much tragedy except for what we're living.
You mean actual tragedy?
Real life, yeah. No. I think Keelan and I had this discussion. Our theory is that the golden age of cinema is 2000 to 2014.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Those 15 years were where you got almost all the best movies that in the modern era that have been created.
So we're currently in the 80s again for movies.
Yeah, kind of. After the Renaissance, now we're just out of good ideas and creativity, and now we're just sort of like blowing lines of coke and screaming about stocks.
Yeah.
So what you're alluding to is that soon we're gonna get some fire ass movies.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
It's definitely gonna circle back around. It's just gonna take a while, and it's gonna take some real risk takers.
Yes.
And it's gonna have all the elements that we like and don't like combined together, and it's gonna work because there's gonna be a level of understanding.
One of the greatest movies I've ever seen only came out. It was only a few years ago, 2 years ago. So
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, it was a shining
great
light
movie.
on it. Yeah,
I wasn't even a part of that review.
I know.
That was a great movie, though.
It was very good. And so it still happens. I think that we'll probably see a renaissance of decent indie flicks, things that are lower budget but still have a lot of heart and are doing well. I think the things that are tied to these giant corporations, I think anything Disney puts out for the next 5 to 10 years is going to be garbage.
Hey, speaking of Disney again, did you guys hear that they're talking about changing the mascot out from Mickey?
Because he's no longer private.
Yeah. They're talking about using some kind of dragon, I heard. I don't know if that's real, though. To be fair, I don't know if it's real. But they were talking about changing it out from Mickey to some dragon named Proud something or Pride Mouth.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, that could be a part of the Disney Hong Kong or Disney Shanghai.
I don't know. It didn't look. It wasn't like a snake dragon. It was like a Puff the Magic Dragon kind of dragon.
Oh, I think you're talking about Figment.
There you go. I think that was his name.
Yeah. He was like an old school mascot of of Disneyland back in the 60s, I think, 60s, 70s.
Man, okay. So they're kind of talking about going back to their original. I'm sitting here like, what? Boy, y'all said a couple things tonight that had me totally learning something new.
Hey, man, life is stranger than fiction.
1,000%. I think I just said that earlier today in a discussion.
So here we are now to the next one.
Hold on. I was going to bring up.
Well, actually, we kind of just circling the wagon, huh?
Yeah, we are.
I mean, shoot, look, I got some fresh ones I could throw out of there. I just give you the topic. We ain't even got to talk about it just for hee-hees and ha-has, because by the time we do another one of these, they'll be these topics might be too old. I don't think we'll cover them. But hey, you never know. We might.
Throw it out there.
Why are barbers so expensive?
I saw that.
It's about people charging like $150 for a cut. Those are salon $150. Yeah. And
we're talking about a damn cut, right?
Look, we're not even talking about traveling barbers. We're talking about a dude that sit in the same chair and pay $250 for rent.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you get a good lineup and get when you got somebody that gets well known for doing something, they feel like they can charge a lot of money for
it with no license. Yeah.
What's that actor's name? The black one. I think he passed away too.
Oh damn!
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
I feel like I do.
he always play a detective or some kind of opposition to black folks, but he always a cop.
Yeah.
Or
got
some
the little
just
goatee, the little,
yeah.
little, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just don't
He'd
know.
be like, shit.
The older dude. You think he
Yeah.
yelling, but he just talk like that?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Anyways, if you check our screen, that's Figment the Dragon. There you go.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, barbers being expensive. Well, I think everything's expensive nowadays.
It's a celebrity thing.
Yes.
No.
What I mean is, it's because these barbers work with all the celebrities, NBA players, actors, and whatnot.
Some
they
of them
feel like
get
they
an
can
Instagram
charge
and
some
get a couple of-
ridiculous price to regular people.
They
Especially
cut one.
Go ahead.
Well, no, they cut one person's hair who happens to make over $100 grand, and all of a sudden I gotta pay $100. I think that's one too, but no, I think what it's come down to is everybody's trying to find a quick way to not have to work anymore. And if that mean I gotta short you to do it for something that you know you shouldn't have to pay this for, but you ain't got nowhere else to go because you trust me, I'm gonna do that.
Man, the rent is too goddamn high. That's
too
what's happening.
goddamn high.
Jeez Louise. I mean,
Yeah, I
honestly,
could
that's
imagine.
really what it comes down to. And you probably are noticing it now because there was a sort of like a lag effect. So like everything got more expensive as far as groceries and gasoline. And
I knew it was coming.
And it creeps across all domains, and eventually gets into the more luxury item things and non-necessity things. So you're just sort of seeing the slow creep of inflation.
I will start cutting my hair with scissors.
Now listen,
I got a bowl in my cupboard.
If we're talking about traveling barbers, I think there's a discussion to have there. If we're talking about high quality, your work is not just your work is good. If you live in a certain city and you get a certain cut, people look and go, "Hey, was that so and so?" I think we could have a discussion.
Yeah,
it's when I'm just rolling down the street with my boy, and I just so happen to need a little cut because we about to make a stop, and I got to get a little fresh. I should be able to throw you this $30 real quick.
$30.
Get on about my day. I think that's still high, yes, but I understand you got bills to pay.
I go to Supercuts and get my cut for $20.
Man, can I get a shampoo?
I have to let you know, Nick. I have to let you know. Culturally, there are a lot of people who cannot go to Supercuts.
I understand that, but that's exactly what it is, though, right? Because I've had my hair cut by black women at Supercuts. Are you telling me they don't know how to cut black men's hair?
It's different.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, I understand, but what I'm saying is that the reason that the barbers are $150 is because nobody wants to go to Supercuts.
Well, there's for understanding purposes.
I hear you.
Right. For understanding purposes, though, there are a lot of black women who can't cut black men's hair.
Okay.
There's a lot of black women who can't cut black women hair. What we doing?
That's absolutely certain. It's not the same. If you're not used to working with our texture of hair, it's not the same.
But and to be clear, for me, I think it's more like just a cultural thing, not just from the stance of black, white, and in between. It's about the preference of the haircut that you like. Mm-hmm. Culturally, and this could be black culture, hip hop culture, basketball culture, inner city culture. If you got a certain amount of hair, you still cutting your hair, you got to get a fade, you got to get a tight little lineup, whether you boxing it, rounding it. There's a lot of different things, right? How you gonna rock your fade? You gonna get a part in your fade, depending on what we might be talking about the 80s, right?
Well, then that's just the commodification of a haircut, and that's why you guys, our prices are at the level of salons in Beverly Hills,
right?
Because
and that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. It's like you get into all of these modifications and specificity, and if I can do that, then I have the right to charge you for it. And I think it's just the lack of discussion being had from service bringer to service purchaser.
Well, there's also there's a supply and demand issue there. Mm-hmm. So the demand is too high, and the people who name the price can name the price at their whim. And, the haircuts are something that, like people don't normally forego for long periods of time. So there's always sort of a market there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily something people can go without. I mean, you could, but you know, like
no.
Yeah.
I say barbers need to start selling packages. I mean, if I got to come to you every week, every 2 weeks anyway, instead of charging me $100 every 2 weeks, I should give you let's say $150 for the month. Yeah,
a subscription. See, then you're renting your haircut, and
this is true, and you are because your hair's growing back.
Yeah, that's one step closer to owning nothing and being happy, baby.
Well, then you start just like with people with tattoos, because a person can tattoo you and you still don't own the tattoo. So you have to cover it. If you do media, you got to cover it so that you don't profit off of somebody else's work.
Well, the tattoo,
but it's on your body permanently.
Yeah, the tattoo thing is very good. I mean, like, you know, as far as the skill and stuff is concerned, like it just takes you getting on like a TV show or tattooing a celebrity, and then all of a sudden you can charge thousands of dollars for your work.
Well, that's what happened with Mike Tyson and his face tattoo.
Right. Yeah.
That's literally what happened. The artist who did that tattoo on his face won. He won money because they used it in The Hangover.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So what was he supposed to do? Put on makeup and cover?
Yes.
Apparently, yes.
That's crazy.
Well, no, because Ed Helm, I think his name is, got it on his face.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he did.
As a joke. It wasn't even real, but as a joke. And they had to pay the tattoo artist that money.
I would just say, man, you don't own shitty tribal tattoos, bro. I know. What do you want?
You don't own this shitty idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. IP gets tricky, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But apparently he does own it. They paid him.
I guess
they paid, yeah. Just because you won a court case don't make you right. It just means you won.
Right.
Fair enough. Well,
but it sets a precedence is what it does for all the other losers out there.
It does do that.
Court of public opinion definitely gets swayed that way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here, folks. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Channel Surfing. We'll try to do this once a week where we just round up all of the things that have been buzzing around the internet for the week and talk to you about it. We're hoping that it doesn't become too blackbilling or too downerish. We're going to try to make it as potpourri-esque as possible, so give you a mix of different types of things that we're going to talk about. Because, you know, if you're a doom scroller, then it's probably just going to be a bummer. So we want to give you guys some ups and some downs and a little bit of taste of everything that might be happening over the week on the internet. We hope that you enjoyed this particular episode. We will be back next week for that. We might be doing a review on Sunday. I don't know. If we're feeling froggy, we shall see. How about that? Anything else you guys wanted to add before we wrap this up?
Well, I gotta be black.
Damn.
Why
he said black build. But yeah. No. I think we've given them plenty to mull over, think about, and judge us by.
Sure thing. It'll definitely do the judging by hitting that like button and that subscribe button. You can also judge us in the comments if you'd like to. We would love to hear from you. We do read the comments, of course. You know, we are a very small channel, and so we appreciate any engagement that we get. So thank you all for listening. We hope that you have a wonderful night, and we'll be back later on this week or early next week for another episode of Screen Time Continuum. But until then, for Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I'm Keelan.
And I'm Mike.
99.
It's my birthday in a few minutes.
Hey. Happy B-Day, buddy.
I appreciate it. I ain't got no plans now. I got to figure out something.